In this video, we're going to talk about something that you might find handy. It's called the selective release. In the math programs, for example, that's what I'll use today. You want the students to master a concept before they move on. Maybe they need to know about multiplying decimals before you let them move on to dividing decimals. Selective release is a tool that can help you do that. And what it looks like is if you scroll down a bit in the math, you can see that all of these quizzes, they have a not available unless you achieve a required score. That's a selective release. I'm looking at this as a student. If I try to click on any of these, they're not active. Okay, I can't open it up. And I have to go back to square roots and area models, this one right here, and I have to get a required score before this one opens up. And then I need a required score in the square roots before measuring line segments opens up, and so on and so on. I had changed my role to just look at it as a student. I'm going to return to my normal role. Now I'm going to be the teacher. As the teacher, I can click right on these. They're not locked for me. Okay, if I click on measuring line segments, it opens up the quiz and I can look at it and edit it. But let's say you don't want to have this in place. I need to turn my editing on, either here or at the top of the page up here. And see that there, I can turn editing on up there. And then you choose one of these. Let's say I want to put a selective release on this first one. This one doesn't have anything. It's open right now. I would edit my settings so I can see what is put in place for this particular quiz. And down at the bottom, second from the bottom, says restrict access. Right now there's none. I want to add a restriction on my students. Now I can have they have to complete something. So maybe you just want them to read the book, or maybe you want them to complete an assignment. You might want it to open up after a certain date if you have a guest speaker coming into your classroom and you don't want to have the questions open yet. A this is what was used in the math, is that you need them to achieve a 50% or an 80% or whatever grade you set. The user profile. It controls the fields within the student's profile. So something in there has told them, you don't let this user log in because they are only in grade 7, whereas you let the grade 8s log in. And then this is a set of restrictions that you need to have A plus B plus C all done before it opens up. So let's just go into the grade one. Now, you see this box is added in. So the grade must, from one of these, so maybe this one you want them to do something with the calculating percent. So in that assignment or quiz or whatever this is, calculating percent, if you check this off, it has to be greater than or equal to 30% or 75%. Or you can check this one off. Grade must be less than like 50%. Maybe you want them to do extra. This is for those kids who don't pass. They need that extra work. Okay? Then you add that restriction in place. Oops, sorry. As soon as you hit the save and return to course, it shows up. There we go. So now we've got a restriction put in place. So the students won't be able to access this until they get an appropriate score in calculating percent. So it's appropriate because it was less than 50%. Maybe, like I said, this is the one that you might want them just to have extra practice. If they're not getting it, it's an extra quiz to help. Okay. So selective release can really help you pace your course. It can help students know, oh, I need more practice. I can't just rush through. If you don't like them, you go right back in, edit settings. I don't actually want this to be calculating percent. They haven't learned that yet. And to get rid of any restrictions, you just push the X and it's gone. So I hope that selective release can help you in your courses to help your students make the most of their experience.